Live. Hey everybody, thanks for coming to my night show. Y'all know Joseph don't come on at night, but I'm here tonight with a special interview for y'all with my brother. So y'all come on through and you know how we do. Once we start live, you'll be able to see everybody involved. Yes, you will. Let me see who I need to say hello to so far. Hey, Trisha and Miss Barbara. Who else up in here? Just Miss Trisha and Miss Barbara. I know we'll. Hey, Reese Cup. Because y'all know Joseph Early. When Trinell ain't involved, Joseph Early. I tell y'all, my husband is the one that keep me slow. Because he's slow. Come on through, y'all, because we're going to start soon. I'm not keeping my guests long. Come on through. Y'all got a minute to get up in here because I said 8 o'clock and it is 7:59. I figure I'll give y'all a chance to get situated. Hey, Melissa. I knew out of anybody and everybody, you and Trisha would be here. And once I told Reese Cup this one, hey, Monte. See, I know. Hey, Tanika. Hey, both Tanikas. Tanika Shawnette and Tanika Green. Hey, Tyrone and Famous. My other favorite couple. I can't say other favorite couple because y'all are my favorite couple. Hey, y'all. Hey, Roxanne. All right, y'all. So we are going to go ahead and start, and I'm not going to keep y'all. It is without further ado, I present to you my, and I'm going to say it just like this, and I know he's going to laugh, my little baby brother, Ronald Glover. Pastor Ronald Glover, you see. What I tell y'all the other day, you got the good angel and the bad one.
Oh.
Hey, y'all, say hello to my brother.
All right.
This was a long time coming, y'all. Me and my brother, I'm going to give y'all a little backstory. I'm going to give y'all a quick little backstory. We found out about each other, that each other existed at our grandmother's funeral. We was in the parking lot. If I remember everything. I tell y'all, I remember any and everything I've ever done with my father, because it was not a lot of things. We were in the parking lot. I was with my mother, and him and his mother and his other two brothers, and my dad was walking towards us. And he looked at both of us and said, "This is your brother." So we kind of both had a little shock look on our face because he only knew his two brothers and I only knew I had a sister. So for us to find out that there was another one of us, it was kind of, like a surprise. So we met that day and that was it. We didn't have a conversation. It was just, "Hey, how you doing?" in the parking lot, and that was it. And we both walked away knowing that there was another half of us roaming the earth. So I would always ask my father about him. He would always ask my father about me. And finally, we were in the same place at the same time. I was living in Maryland. He was in the Air Force, at Andrews Air Force Base. And my father said, "Well, I guess it's about time for y'all to meet each other." And my father flew down, and he actually took both of us. We went to dinner. I don't even remember where we went. And I remember sitting there going, "Oh, my God, you look just like Daddy." And then he said the same thing about me. And I'm like, "No, I look like my mother. You look like he spit you out." We still argue about that to this day.
Right.
Of which one of us looks more like him. But it's you.
No, it's you. Definitely you.
No, it's you. I mean, honestly, until Tramel made this thumbnail behind me, I really didn't realize how much me and you look alike. I really didn't. Because we never really together. So until Tramel put that picture together, I said, "We look alike." Okay. Yeah. I ain't mad at it. Because, you're just as cute as I am. So I ain't mad at it. Now, if I had an ugly brother, then I'd be like, "Oh, we don't look nothing alike, child."
Oh, man.
Tramel, I'm not a narcissist. That was you yesterday on my live. You are, not me. Hey, Moni, no love. But thank y'all for coming. My brother, I did an interview with my sister, so I felt it was fair to do one with my brother because, Me and Tramel have interviewed Tracy for her books. And I felt when my brother told me he wrote a book, it was time to interview him as well and give him a platform to talk about the things that me and Tramel kind of talk about already without even knowing what he was writing about. Me and Tramel kind of talk about that. Y'all heard our podcast, Church Hurt, and we went through what church did to us growing up or what they did to Tramel when he told him he was marrying me. So in the gist of that, hearing my brother speak, being a pastor and having a church and closing his church down, it was interesting to hear that we kind of had kind of the same views on church and God, because I'll let him tell y'all all of that. But go ahead, Ron. The floor is yours to say whatever you want to say. It's an open space. My viewers are not judgmental, and I know when they hear you, they're gonna say, Joseph, brother, just like him.
Well, first of all, bro, let me thank you for giving me this platform and allowing me to be on your show. This is such an honor, and I think when we initially met, we were both too young to really gravitate and comprehend what was actually going on. Because when I actually met you, I was only 5 or 6 years old at the time.
Right.
Yeah, at the time of Grandma's funeral, I was only 5 or 6 years old. So to see us not have someone actually bring us together, but we still came together at this point in our lives, 30-something years later, it is nothing but God. And so I thank God for my relationship with you, Tramel, my brother-in-law. And, I just thank God that he has allowed us to connect in this manner. But, and it was bound to happen. So, you cannot stop what God is going to do, no matter how hard you try. And
I was a little scared at first, though. I ain't gonna lie, because I was like,
we have some factors.
When he finds out that I'm gay, like, how is it? Because I knew he was a pastor.
Yeah.
So I was like, what is he gonna say? Please, Jesus, don't let this go the wrong way. When we met in Maryland, but then when I found out that Dad said, he's just like his mother. Be careful what you say. I said, well, at least he warns him that I'm not going to just sit there and let him spew all kind of church stuff at me. Because I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? When you don't know, you come prepared for whatever may somehow ever somebody may attack you. But I was like, oh my God, I don't know how. I was like overwhelmed and overjoyed when you wanted to get to know me in spite of.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that and tying that into what we're going to talk about tonight, I think that that is one of the issues that I had with the church. I mean, even pastoring, you know what I'm saying? Just the judgmental aspect of it and the hypocrisy in it. Okay. And so, my book that you reference, it's called Church Rejection. It hurt me, but it helped me. And the premise behind me writing that book was birthed out of an 8-year stint. It took me 8 years to write. You know that book is not long at all. But them few little chapters in that book, it took me 8 years to actually write that, because I didn't realize I was dealing with so much hurt, all while I was trying to pastor and be what other people wanted me to be. Okay. And so that's what I had to get out of with the church, because I began to see so much hypocrisy in the church. I grew up, my stepfather was a pastor. So the whole premise behind the book was that, my stepfather had brought me back to Cincinnati to when I started preaching. I had got out the Air Force, and he brought me back to take over the church. He let the people know that that's why he had brought me back. And he was tragically murdered. And so the people caught amnesia, and they turned on me like you wouldn't believe. And so I'm like, hold up, I didn't ask to come back for this. You see what I'm saying? And so, man, they turned on me, and all of a sudden I was no good to be pastor. But what it was is they didn't want my mother to still be in that position as you know, they got that term first lady.
Right.
Yeah, you know, so which is also, you know, a bunch of foolishness. But I started seeing. Go ahead.
I'm gonna pause you right there. But now maybe it's me because I don't know any better. But wouldn't, because at that point you was married, wouldn't your wife become the first lady and your mother become like the mother of the church? She can't still be the first lady because she's not married to the preacher no more. So I mean, she still would have a role, but her role will go down one, and your wife would have been first lady. I'm just clearing it up for people that don't know.
Right. But she had so much influence in the church to where there was a group that didn't even want her, you know what I'm saying, to be in any position, mother, first lady, anything, no more. Okay, now we talking about church folks. Okay,
right,
and how church folks can be. Okay, so in that process, man, they hurt me so bad, and I actually decided not to pursue the pastor, but to leave the church and start my own church, which was probably the best decision that I made. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, I was able to do it on my own terms and do it the way that God wanted me to do it. Now, here's the problem. Even though I launched out and did it on my own, I still was bringing people with that same church mentality with me. So I brought damaged people into my church as well, which, you know what I'm saying, people come damaged anyway. Church is supposed to be the spiritual hospital. But I brought people from my old church, and they were already damaged and following the traditions of religion, and you know, and that's all the stuff I was trying to get away from. You see what I'm saying? But so in the process, I was really hurt by the church. And so it took me a long time to really understand that it wasn't God's church that hurt me. It was the people.
Right.
So I had to learn how to separate the two. And it took me a long time to be able to separate the two because people hurt people. You know what I'm saying? And as me and you have discussed, the church that we see today, bro, is not the church that God intended for it to be in its original state. Okay, church has become about money. Church and I say that because let me tell you, where I'm from, you know, I've come in contact with pastors, man, who wouldn't even fellowship with you unless you could raise them a certain amount of money.
Right.
So it's become about money. It's not about, you know, it's not about loving each other and caring for one another. And you know, God, I believe that God is not pleased with what's going on. Not at all. Not at all. And see, for me, it goes all the way back to when I was in Bible college, when I was in seminary, going through school. It's ironic, man, because even back then when I was in school, Bible college and everything, I had to lie my way through school. I had to write papers knowing that's not how I felt.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like you got to write what the professors want you to say in order to pass a course. So it's a trickle down effect where they producing pastors and clergy based on what they want you to say and what they want you to know and what they want you to put out there.
Right.
And that's the only way for you to pass and get your bachelor's or your master's degree in a certain Bible college. You know what I'm saying? Is to say what they want you to say. And it got to the point, man, where I couldn't do it no more, Joe. I couldn't do it. I said, you know what? my sanity, my life is more important than pleasing people. And I had to separate myself from I shut my church down because it just got to the point where it was just too much playing church and too much politics and too much, hypocrisy within the church,
Especially when it's something you don't want to do.
Right.
Get over here. When it's stuff you don't want to do, it's too much.
Oh, absolutely.
It becomes too much, and it starts weighing on you after a while.
Right. And so, when you see when you see pastors doing one thing on Sunday mornings, but doing another thing throughout the week, you know what I'm saying?
You privy to all the stuff people say that happens, but you was privy to it because you were a pastor. So you saw all the stuff they sat up there and said don't do that they did when they wasn't in the book.
Right. And even before I was a pastor, I had that VIP backdoor pass, bro, because my stepfather was a pastor, and he hung with a lot of the pastors and the preachers in the city. So they would get together, and this ain't this me being real. They would get together, man, and drink and smoke weed and. This is stuff that, they get up on Sunday morning in the pulpit and condemn the congregation for, but behind closed doors, I see them doing it. You know what I'm saying? And got to keep my mouth shut. Because I'm just, I'm supposed to be seen, not heard.
But see, my thing is this, and I'm fine with them doing all of that. I am.
Right.
My problem is when you become hypocritical about it when you're in the pulpit. Don't preach about it. If you doing it and partaking in stuff, don't stand up there and tell everybody you're going to hell. You're going this, you going that, but you doing the same things I'm doing. But I'm viewing you as being the man of God, so you can't possibly do this. It's just impossible. And I'm sure there are people that have seen them do it and swore their eyes tricked them. I didn't see what I saw. I didn't see what I think I saw. The devil playing tricks on because that's what they do.
Yeah. But I mean, the irony of it is a lot of the stuff that the church condemns us for is stuff that God don't even condemn us for.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff that we are condemned from the church is stuff that there's actually nothing wrong, but because we're so we want to present ourselves as being so perfect and so holy. Instead of being transparent and being real, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't miss the mark, man. We really missed the mark. We have a whole the church folks have a whole list and a whole additional group of standards that God is looking at us like, man, all I'm looking at is your heart. I want to know how pure your heart is. I want to know how real your heart is. Are you loving my people and taking care of my people how I told you to take care of? I don't care about all that extra stuff.
But
you know what I'm saying? You in the world. You're going to do what you do.
But if you tell me not to smoke cigarettes, right? All my cigarette money is coming to you on Sunday because I can't spend $12 on a pack of cigarettes no more because Pastor Glover told me not to smoke or else I'm going to hell. So you get my money. I can't drink every Friday because guess what? That $15 bottle of Hennessy I was going to buy, guess what? It's going to come to Pastor Glover on Sunday because he told me not to drink. They try to stop you from doing things to spend your money so that they can get it and they can live fabulous lives. Because when you put up your post on Sunday, that just worked my spirit, what you said he said, that if God don't have it, you don't need it. And
which was not script biblical at all.
Right.
And that goes back to another point because, and you made a good point. How is it that we all serve the same God, but it's okay? Baptists, they believe it's okay to smoke, but Kojic or Church of God in Christ, they'll tell you that you're going to hell if you smoke. But we all serve the same God. I don't understand. Right. And then one of the questions I had, man, and I challenge anybody that's listening to go to your pastor and ask your pastor this. If you attend a church or you know a pastor, I say it's become a money issue because they kill us with tithes and offerings. You got to pay your tithes, you got to pay your offerings. Okay, but the scripture that they use is in Malachi, which is in the Old Testament. If a man rob, how will a man rob God in tithes and offering? They use the scripture in Malachi 3, I believe it's 3:11. Okay, however, they said Jesus came and did away with the Levitical law and did away with everything in the Old Testament. How come he didn't do away with the tithes and offerings?
Well, see, I asked them the same thing because when they tell me about being gay, I said, okay, well, in the New Testament, it speaks nothing of it. So if Jesus came, then all of that is null and void. But then they tell me that's not true.
Because Jesus came, and see, it's too much hypocrisy. Because that, and that's a false statement. Because I don't care what it is, Jesus came with grace and mercy.
Right.
So I don't care what it is that we do, he has enough grace and mercy to cover each and one of our sins. And so it don't matter. And see, this is the thing. The Bible says no sin is greater than the other. So what you do, Joe, ain't no different than what I do. And my hang up may not be your hang up, but rest assured, believe we all got some hang ups.
Right.
We all got some issues. My issues may not be your issues, but we all got some issues.
Exactly.
But the thing about it is, your sin ain't no worse than my sin. Sin is sin. I don't care how you look at it. And so I don't care. Man, people got this shopping demon. That's a sin. When shopping takes over, that ain't no worse than the gossip. People gossiping. That's a sin. To hear them tell it but the thing about it is Jesus came and he has enough grace to cover us all.
Right, exactly.
And so instead of preaching love, I don't care who you are, instead of preaching love, and you talked about this the other day, homosexuality is an issue in the church and until they need you to lead the choir.
Right.
Until they want you to lead the choir, or until they have no problems taking your money. None at all.
Take it every Sunday.
Every Sunday. And if you miss, they'll call you and ask you, where were you?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So it's just the hypocrisy in it that killed me, man. And I couldn't continue to do church as usual anymore. And it's got to the point, man. You got preachers on TV, and their whole message is about prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
Send them money. Send them money. Send them money. And I'm just like, hey, I'm not going to get his name, but I'm down here in Atlanta. A lot of big churches down here.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the most prominent preachers that preaches prosperity, and you probably know who I'm talking about. His church is down here. He's on TV.
The one in the hood or the one out of the hood?
And he is dead smack in the hood, JoJo.
Dead smack in the hood.
And you got this huge church, but yet at the corner of your church, you got homeless people outside with signs.
And I'm sure he owned that.
You asking for a $65 million
they all go to after church. I know he owned that soul food restaurant down the block that they go to after church.
So
I know.
You know what I'm talking about.
But
yet, you asking for a $65 million jet, but you got homeless people outside of your church.
Sleeping in front of your church.
Sleeping in front of your church. That, man, that killed me, bro. I saw that killed me. That
you know what I said? I said, Big Daddy's got the best soul food in Atlanta. They got the best, I ain't gonna lie. I'm about to go down there and check it out. Big Daddy's got the. I brought 2 platters, and I was just talking about this with Roxanne. How I brought 2 platters because I couldn't make up my mind what I wanted. And I went home and said, "I'm gonna taste the oxtails and I'm gonna taste the fried chicken." And my fat butt sat there and ate them both.
It was good.
Because it was good. Go to Fat Daddy's because I'm telling you, the food is banging. But don't go to church on Sunday because the line is around the corner.
Yeah, I'm about to check it out. Thanks for the plug. Yeah, but like I said, bro, man, I couldn't continue to do church as usual. The traditions of religion have messed a whole lot of people up, and they so tied into religion. People don't understand that, a lot of all of these religions and denominations are man-made. They don't understand that, not many of them are even 100, 200 years old. when you look at
Tramel is into like a lot of Egyptian stuff, and he was the one that put me on to like the Egyptians and Akhenaten and how Akhenaten worship the sun, and they use the sun as like when I saw there's a whole video on YouTube about it and how they turned Akhenaten's religion into Christianity. It was like, but his whole religion is that, and it's in hieroglyphics, so you can see that they took what he created and made it into what they wanted it to be. And I'm like, wow. I was like, this is a lot. Because they
absolutely
to keep the slaves enslaved.
To keep the slaves enslaved. And we talked about that as well, how can that's what you had, the slave owners pushing this religion to keep slaves enslaved.
And then you gave them a Bible to read, and none of them could read. And then if they tried to read it, you wanted to beat them for learning how to read. Like, it made no sense. Like, it was crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy how, and I'm not going to say, because it ain't God and Jesus. It's religion.
Right, religion.
Now, religion screws people up. It should be helping people. It should really be helping people. You should be able to really go to church and get the help that you're looking for. And come away with something new. And a lot of people do what they were looking for because they're broken.
Right.
And they find a fix because they find the love of God and they do feel it and they experience it, and then they get caught up because they're already broken. And it's easy to take somebody broken and keep them broke as opposed to taking something broken and fixing it. Because when they fix, that's when they start with the, wait a minute, something ain't right here.
Yeah. They get that insight and that revelation. And see, that's the thing, because when you look at denominations and all the denominations that we see, when you go to a Church of God in Christ, Baptist Church, AME, all these churches are birthed out of a man or a group of people that got upset with the previous church, so they decided to launch out on their own and start their own church. That's how all these denominations get started. Even when you go as far as to say, "Oh, we non-denomination," that's nothing but another denomination, because they got upset with the church that they was at and decided to start another denomination. You know what I'm saying? And all these denominations are birthed out of hurt. Right. And when you go back and look at this stuff, man, and when you really look at the church you go to, and be like, I wonder how this church was started. I wonder where they came up with this name. And if I guarantee you 9.9 times out of 10, if you just trace the history of the church, somebody got upset with somebody and decided, I'm gonna start my own thing. Right. And that's how it began. But
sometimes if a person does that and they have good intent, it births something great. Because sometimes they need that extra to get angry and to do something different and to move in a whole different direction that's going to benefit other people. But a lot of times even though they start out that way, they get caught up in what it becomes. And then they start doing the same thing that they walked away from.
Exactly. Yes.
But in the beginning, everybody on board because they're like, yes, this is what I've been looking for. And little by little, they'll be able, I don't have to drive this Toyota no more. I can get me a Lexus, and I can buy me a bigger house, and and they realize that, this is probably how they got caught up. I ain't gonna get caught up. And the next thing they blink and they caught up.
They caught up. Yeah. And that's exactly what I was gonna say. The original intent is often different than what it turns into. Right. And That's the problem that we see today. And don't get me wrong, I love church. And let me make that disclaimer right now. I love church. I love God. I love Jesus. I'm all about church when it's done the right way. And so me realizing that I was doing church how I've been taught to do it, I could not I could not be subject to God's discipline, if that makes sense. Like I didn't want God to whoop me for how I was doing church. So, I had to pray about it and ask God, like, God, is this what you want me? Is this what you want me doing? Because I was doing things the traditional way, and I knew it wasn't right. You know what I'm saying?
I watched you. Did you have sermons on YouTube or Facebook? I know I watched you.
I had a sermon on YouTube. I had a couple sermons on YouTube.
I watched you, and I sat there and I said, "Wow, he preached just like our father." Because you just mellow and calm, and you get your point across. And I was like you drew me in. I ain't gonna lie, it was very charismatic, and I was like, "Wow." I was just impressed. I was like really impressed. I really was. I ain't gonna lie about it. You didn't even know I ever did this, but I saw you. You came across, or somebody said. I don't know if somebody said something on one of your posts, and I went to the video and I watched another. I said, well, maybe this was just this one time, and I watched a couple of videos, and I was so impressed by the way you. I said, he don't scream, he don't, because like I think all that screaming and stuff is extra. I know sometimes you might feel it and want to yell, but I think all that extra screaming is just for shock value to people and wake them up because they've fallen asleep, half of them. But I was just so impressed. Like I ain't gonna lie, I was so impressed by the way that you preach. I was like,
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I
ain't gonna lie, you look just like him and you preach like him too. Because I should say when I remember hearing him preach, it was never really yelling and screaming. Maybe his voice got a little high, but it wasn't. And God said it was never that. It was just he got what he had to say, and like my Uncle David was the same way. It was very. They said what they have to. Y'all say what y'all gotta say, prove your point, and get off.
Right. I appreciate that, man. And and I'm gonna tell you, Joe, at the time that I actually shut down my church, man, people called me crazy. We was booming. We was doing good in Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? And people called me crazy. And I had one pastor. And see, this is what I'm talking about. I had one pastor tell me my church anniversary was coming up like maybe 2 weeks later. And during church anniversary, they usually give you money and what I'm saying, bless you and for the work that you've been doing. And other pastors come in. It's usually like a week-long event or whatever where they raise money for you and all this. But I had a pastor, man, in good conscience, I couldn't take the people's money knowing I was getting ready to shut down the church.
Right.
And this was what let me know that I was doing the right thing. I had a pastor come to me right when I did it. And he said, "Oh man, you should have waited until after the anniversary so you could have got the money." I said, "Wow. Really? Really?" And I want to call him all kind of Negroes. You black. But I was like, man, this nigga got I'm like, man, come on, are you serious?
Yeah.
So man, I knew then I was doing the right thing. I said, you know what? I can't do it.
Right.
I can't do it. So
it's a lot. So y'all, that's just some of what's in his book. There's more.
Yeah. I got as I told you, man, I got the second book coming out at the end of the summer. It's called Leading While Bleeding, and it talks about everything I had to go through while I was pastoring the church. But I was leading people, but I was bleeding on the inside. And so many people, man, are in this position where they taking care of their families and taking care of loved ones and taking care of households and trying to be managers on their jobs and in positions of leadership. but yet they're hurting on the inside, and they got so much going on the inside. Man, when that book come out, it's gonna be even crazier than this first book that I wrote. And so, like I said, the first book, Church Rejection, it's a short book, but I have heard nothing but, man, I people still call me today, telling me how the book has blessed them. I got one line in there. It says, when I begin to think differently, I begin to reap differently. Meaning, when my mind was changed and when I saw the light, God began to bless me because of my obedience to what He told me to do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's not that. And to be honest with you, bro, you know me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't even go to church. Right. And that last post I made about church, that's the first time I had been in church in over 2 years, almost 2 years.
Wow.
And when he said what I made reference to, in regards to what he say, if God don't have it, then you don't need it. Right. I was like, man, this is exactly why I don't come to church, because he had people in church shouting him down. Hey man, I'm like, these people don't have a clue.
God ain't got electricity, but they need that, right?
Right.
You don't have a need for electricity, so but you need that.
I'm like, but what is it that God don't have? If you say He owns everything, and the Bible says that He owns everything, including us, how can you put this message out telling people if He don't have it, we don't need it? See, that's one of them control tactics.
Exactly.
To keep people controlled.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm like, that's crazy. Same pastor. They stand up and tell people, get a pastor your stimulus check. Yeah, okay. Yeah. He should have took his own advice. Like, look, if you don't have it, you don't need it, brother.
Do you think that you would ever open another church?
If I did, it would be so unorthodox. Like, it would be. And me and my mother, we talked about this last week, and I told her, I said, man, if I was to open a church, it would be a church where people can come, and it would be, just straight first 15, 30 minutes be straight singing, and then the last 30 minutes be straight word. And all that extra stuff, I'm not doing it. The announcements, the church politics, all the extra stuff. I was going to a church, man, where they would stand up and for at least 30 to 45 minutes would promote products that the pastor was selling. Come out with a bag full of CDs and books and stuff, and trying to get people to buy his products. No, all that extra stuff, it would be straight 45 minutes in and out. And until I can do church that way, and I wouldn't take them no offering. It would be, I wouldn't make people feel bad about not giving. So I wouldn't even place an offering in the service to where people feel like, oh, it's offering time, I can't give, and feel bad about it. Right. You know what I'm saying? I would put a basket at the door at the end of service, and if you want to give on your way out, give. If you don't have it, don't feel bad. Right. God loves you the same. He knows the situation you in, and He knows your heart better than you know your heart. Exactly. So, it's a whole lot that I would take out of the traditions of religion. And so, if to answer your question, I would, but it would be so streamlined, and it would be all about loving God's people and healing the hurt.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Probably come every Sunday just for that part of it alone.
Yeah. It would be all about, and I've really been in prayer about it, because I'm down here in Georgia, and I got people like, man, I'm looking for a church, but I don't want all that extra. I don't want the politics. Right. I don't want the tradition. And they're like, we can't find a church like that. Right. I'm like, wow. So, when God says step out on faith and do it, then I do it. Until then, hey, I'm living my best life, brother.
I know.
Yeah.
So pass the book. I need my shrimp, crab meat. Y'all don't know, but my brother started a business, a quiche business. And baby, I'm telling you, if you see them quiches, if you are,
we'll be in business. I'm just waiting for some packing supplies. We'll be in business to overnight ship them, and I think that's the route that I'm going to take. Because these folks down here keep me too busy, man. And to be honest with you, I'm only selling them in my neighborhood. That's the crazy part about it. I haven't even expanded.
Wait, I gotta be honest, because your big brother think he is chef. So when you put the first one up there, right?
Right.
I was like, oh, that's cute. Look at that little quiche. Then he put a different one, and then he put a different one, and then he said he was catering an event. And I'm seeing quiche after quiche, and every one is getting better and better and better. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that shrimp one right there look like I need to have a piece of that.
Oh, that seafood, man. That's my number one seller, man. Yeah,
because it looks amazing.
They don't mind paying for that out here.
So if they want to place an order, because you're not shipping until July, they can place orders now. And
I put
you make one size, you make different sizes.
They're all one size. But and that's just to keep it simple. But they can email me, and what I'll do is I sent you the email address, correct?
Yes, they are putting it up in the chat as we speak.
Okay, they can email me, and what I'll do is I'll respond and email them the menu, and then we can go from there.
Y'all, I'm telling y'all, when y'all see that shrimp one, that crab meat shrimp one, that seafood one, that's what did it for me.
Yeah, I'll even send them pictures and everything so they know what they're getting.
That's what did it for me. Was the seafood one. And he got pictures of all of them, and then he makes a bunch of. I'm stuck on the seafood one because that's the one I'm going to order when he can send them. That's the one I'm going to order, but he makes a whole bunch of different types. So I'm sure whatever's your pleasure, he can make you a quiche with that.
Yeah, yes, sir. I got you.
Yes, because I'm telling y'all, it's amazing. And I don't know if I'm putting too much of your business out here.
No, you good.
Another thing that brought us kind of close, I think, is because at the exact same time in both our lives, we both ended up on dialysis at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because I didn't know he was on and he didn't know I was on. And when we talked about it, we were going to like the same facility, just in a different place at the same time of the day. And it was crazy. We was going at the same time in the same facility, just in different places. And it was crazy because I'm like, well, now we know where we got the jacked up kidneys from.
Right.
Couldn't be our mamas because we don't share the same mama. Right. So because they have no clue what made mine go haywire. Right. So, I'm like, it was like that was kind of like a bond we shared because I understand what he feels like and he understood what I feel like when I can sit and tell my sister she saw it. Tracy saw that I was exhausted and completely drained. And I would be like, when you come home, because she would get home from work like maybe an hour after me coming from dialysis, and I would tell her, don't say nothing to me, just leave me here. I know your intentions are good, but just leave me until I get up and start moving around and talking to you. She said, no problem. If you want anything or need me, just yell. Because she saw that I was completely drained.
Right,
so,
right.
When you have somebody else that understands that and understands that feeling, it's like you can identify with what they're going through at the time more so than his other brothers or my sister, because they don't comprehend they do because they see it, but they don't understand it because they're not living through it.
Right.
And that kind of like put us on the same path as well. And it was like weird to me because I'm like, I didn't realize he's not that much. He's not that much younger than me.
Right.
But he's still young to have to be on dialysis. At least me, I'm half a century.
Right.
But I've been on 5 years now. So it happened when I was 45, 45. So
you've been on 5 years.
Yeah, since 2016.
And I've been on since 2016.
Yep, since 2016.
Yep, me too. October 2016.
Yeah, and I found out in August. We literally found out at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was crazy to me. And I was like, for real? Like, we going through the same thing at the same, like, who does that? Like, he's really my brother. And then I see some of the things he's saying. I'm like, yeah, his mouth is like mine. Yeah, that mouth is like mine. That's a Glover mouth. That's definitely a Glover mouth. We don't care.
We can be brutally honest at times.
I'm like, we don't care what. For me, it's all the time.
Yeah.
I never have a filter. That's why my show is called Joseph Rants.
Right.
And I go off all the time. But y'all, if y'all have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. If y'all want to come up and say something, let me know, and I will drop the link in the chat. Hold on. I'm going to put the link in the chat right now for y'all. I hope this works the right way. Boop, boop, boop. Hold on, y'all. Because he said he was open to take questions from the people. And if y'all have questions, y'all could definitely ask them. Yep, that's the link right there for the StreamYard. Y'all see it in the chat. So if y'all want to come up and ask a question or two or say something, you can. I told y'all to get yourselves together because that was going to happen. But y'all don't believe me when I tell y'all to do stuff. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Val. Who did I miss? Hey, Christine. Who else did I miss? Hey, Terry. Hey, Uncle Fred. Yeah, Roxanne, you got the shopping demon. He was talking about you when he said that. He was definitely.
I got that shopping demon too.
Hey, Brenda. Hey, Erica. Hey, y'all. Thank all y'all for coming through. Thank you, Brenda. Well, I guess y'all ain't coming up and y'all don't have no question. Thank you, Monte. I'm glad you enjoyed the interview. Oh, here comes somebody. Oh, it figures. Uncle Fred. Hold on, I'm gonna bring him in. Oh, it figures. Okay. Uncle Fred.
Well,
hold on, I'm gonna bring him in. Oh, it figures. Okay. Uncle Fred.
oh, wait a minute. You know, I got. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. No.
You on mute because you need to fix that echo. You need to turn your computer down because you're the only person on the computer in the world in 2021. What? Wait a minute. Talk now.
I shut it down. I'm on my phone.
Because I can't hear. That was too much.
I'm on my phone.
Hello, Uncle Fred. How are you? You going to hold the phone up to this computer for how long?
Why is it going 3 times? I'm on the cell phone and I plugged in my ear.
I hear you perfectly fine now.
So you can see them.
I hear you fine. You about to get hung up on?
Oh, I'm glad you hear me fine. No. Ron, I just want to say I'm Uncle Fred. I'm glad you hear me. This is Uncle Fred.
You too busy listening to
Joe's vocal.
yourself. Just keep talking. Stop trying to listen to yourself. Don't pay yourself no mind. Just talk.
Ron, it was nice to see you. I enjoyed the show. Bye-bye for now.
All right. Thank you, brother. God bless you, Uncle Fred.
I know Roxanne gonna get me because that's her buddy. That's Roxanne buddy. Let me tell you. Roxanne gonna get me. She gonna get me. She gonna get me. She gonna say, "Why you do that to Uncle Fred?" It's Uncle Fred. I don't want to ban him from the studio.
Don't ban Uncle Fred.
Uncle Fred will be removed from the studio.
Oh man,
that's my Uncle Fred. That you know how you say your stepfather was your dad?
Yeah,
that was mine.
Oh, okay, okay,
definitely mine.
Cool.
Look, see, Roxanne said, "That's right. I'm gonna get you." Hey, Patricia. Thanks for coming. I heard you wasn't feeling well. Miss Barbara says she gonna get me too. The sisterhood gonna get me for messing with Uncle Fred. The sisterhood gonna get me. I didn't ban him, Reese Cup. I was joking with that one. I ain't banning him. I have a question. What's your question, Brenda? You can ask it in the chat, or if you know how to click that link and come up, you can ask it. I'm glad you're feeling better, Patricia. Roxanne said, "We don't play about our Uncle Fred." I know Tracy and Val gonna get me too. Brenda says she has a question, so I think she's typing it.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if it comes up. You can talk in the meantime, man. If you want to say anything, or I don't know if you can see the comments.
No, I can't actually see the comments.
Oh, you said you don't know how to come up. So type your question in the chat. Or if you want to say something, type it in the chat and I'll read it, whatever way it is. If it's a question or you want to make a statement or a comment, just type it and I'll read it. Because we don't need another episode like we have with Uncle Fred. Ooh.
Uncle Fred gonna get it together.
Okay, so Brenda said writing your book in the church, going through the church hurt. How are you before and now?
Ooh, good question. Great question. Actually, it took me a long time to I think with me going through everything, it wasn't just the church, but with my health challenges and everything, it took me a long time to kind of filter through everything that was going on. And, in addition to losing my stepdad, I mean, it seemed like everything just happened all at the same time. But I think where I could have healed a lot quicker if the church would have shown me love and helped me through it. It took me that much longer because the one place I was hoping to find love, I didn't get it. And the place where I felt like I was supposed to get love, I didn't get it. But now I'm actually I believe that I'm in such a better place now. I feel like I've been liberated and set free. And I actually had to pray about God releasing me from the church, and that's where the revelation came to me, where God, I was laying in the hospital and I'm just like, God, I did everything you asked me to do. Like, can you just release me from the church? I mean, I've done this for 10 years now, And God was like, you know what? You have done everything I asked you to do. And he was like, basically the word I got, he was like, and that's why I get when I say the church that we see today is not the church that God intended for it to be. Because that's the message I got back from God. He said, you've been doing a good work, but the church that what was taking place today, that's not my church.
Right.
And so people don't understand why I say that, but that's the word I got back. I mean, and I totally believe that when you speak to God, God will speak back to you. The problem is that sometimes we don't want to hear what God is saying, and it's not the answer that we want to hear from God. But and people in the old church, they used to say, "Oh, don't question God or don't ask God questions." And I tell people like, well, how the hell else am I gonna know what God is trying to say if I don't ask questions? Everybody in the Bible asked God questions and dialogue with God. Moses had questions for God, and Abraham went back and forth with God. How else am I gonna know what God is saying if I don't communicate? How would you know what your spouse is trying to communicate to you if you don't ask questions? If you don't communicate, if it's not reciprocal, so it's just another one of those cliches and church traditions that they taught you that was totally inaccurate. But to answer her question, I feel liberated. I feel free. I am excited about where God has me at right now in my life. Even with my health challenges, I went through a state of depression with that. But how that is when you used to doing things one day and then the next day you can't do nothing. And so I went through a whole state of depression with that, but God was like, I got you. And let me tell you, Joe, when this first initially kicked off, they said I needed a heart transplant, and they told my mom that I wouldn't live 6 months if I didn't get a heart transplant. And so I put on my hospital wall, in God I trust. I'm trusting God. They wanted to put this pump inside of me where I would have wires coming out of my navel and had to have a box hooked up. And I said, no. I said, if it's my time to go, it's my time. I'm not equipped mentally to deal with that. And so I said, you know what, God, whatever you do, I'm for it. And so, went through that process, man. Here it is. That was back in 2014 and 2021. 6 months turned into almost 7 years. Right. And so, I kept fighting and fighting. Yeah, I kept.
They didn't want to do nothing. When they first found me, I had like 20 pounds of water on me, and it was water on my heart. So they was like, have you ever had cardiac problems? I'm like, no, and I ain't about to have them now. And they right. Well, no, we want you to see a cardiologist. I said, for what? There ain't nothing wrong with my heart. And they was like, well, no, because I said, look, I can't deny the kidneys, but ain't nothing wrong with my heart. My heart fine.
Right.
And they kept telling me, but no, Mr. Glover, no. I said, no, ain't no Mr. Glover, no, ain't nothing wrong with my heart. And ain't nobody going in and messing with my heart. It's fine. Right. But if we just know there's nothing wrong with my heart, and now to this day, my heart is fine. They keep telling me, I always check, because I'm like, sometimes you do that and there's something wrong with yourself. I said, is that, no, your heart is beating fine. It's strong. It's this. I said, okay, I'm just checking. Because I refuse to let them do it. I just refuse. I'm like, nope. I got to believe God for something now. Y'all already told me.
Absolutely.
My kidneys is kicked off. I can't, I can believe God to fix them, but I got to get hooked up to this dialysis machine. Ain't nothing wrong with my heart but a little bit of water. Y'all pull that off. So I ain't letting you do nothing else past that.
Right. And that's ironic because, every a lot of times, many times, oftentimes, the things that we go through aren't even for us. It's for somebody else to see God working in our lives. Somebody who may not believe, or they just need to see God working with their own eyes. And so that's the conclusion I had to come to. I said, you know what? And it's ironic that I'm on your show tonight, because everything that I went through is the reason why I'm sitting here tonight. You see what I'm saying? And so the things that we go through many times is not even for us. It's for somebody else to see how good God really is.
I just told somebody that today with a YouTube channel because
Yeah.
somebody told her to talk about her sickness, and she's like, "Don't nobody want to hear that." I said, "Don't say that." I said, I didn't think people wanted to hear about me. I said, and when I started, I said at first they were shocked. They was like, "You on dialysis? You don't look like you're on dialysis." I said, then when I did a video showing them how to do it at home, I said, "You know how many people was in my inbox and sending me emails asking me to explain the process?" Because my brother can tell you, they make it like the most scariest thing on the planet. They want you to do it at home, but they make it like, oh my God, if you make one false move, you're gonna die. You're gonna get this horrible disease and you're gonna die.
Right.
They were messing me up so much in the center. I said, well, you know what? I looked at them and said, well, I feel this way.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna die, I'd rather kill myself than sit here and let y'all do it, because y'all don't know what y'all doing. Yeah. And they looked at me like I was crazy. I said, if I'm gonna die, I'd rather kill myself by getting an infection and not hooking myself up, as opposed to sitting here with y'all being professionals and y'all are killing me because y'all all are stupid. I don't have a problem. I don't have no problems. I love it. And so many people have hit me up for just sharing. And it wasn't because I wanted to. It was because Tramel, and I felt he just got on live one day. My husband's on dialysis and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, why are you telling people my business?
Yeah.
Because it's something that's why I said if I'm saying too much, because a lot of people want people to know.
Right.
But then when I saw it, I was helping people and people was reaching out to me, and I said, wow, I didn't even know this person was on dialysis, or wow, I didn't know he was going through that. Or like when I had the stroke, other people that was on dialysis that had strokes was like, Joseph, I had 2 strokes. You look amazing. You this, you that. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess. And then I seen people, and I'm complaining because I just got a little discomfort. And then I seen other people that had strokes that are like this and can't move. And I'm like, well, okay, well, God, you did do a thing for me. Because in my mind, I didn't imagine that. I knew I couldn't walk, but I knew that I was going to walk, and I was insistent that I was going to walk. See, I guess that's the God in both of us.
Right.
Because as much as, we have to admit that our father's a preacher, so we got a little bit, both of us. Even the little bad seed right here got a little piece.
Yeah.
Uncle Fred called me one day after a live, and I was talking about God and what have you. And he said, I was so impressed. I didn't know you knew all that. And I said, see, I listen. Y'all don't understand. I listen. That don't mean I want to sit around like not when I say y'all, I don't mean you, but I'm talking about the rest of them just quote Bible scriptures all day. But I listen and I apply what needs to be applied, and the rest of it I leave where it need to be left until it's time to pick it up and use it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
But does anybody else have any more questions?
Who was that asked that last question?
That was Brenda that asked that question.
Brenda? Okay. Thanks, Brenda, for that question. That was a good question.
And she also said, I lost my job, 33 years in the hospital, nursing assistant, congestive heart failure, blood clots on my lungs, and COVID-19. Jesus is the one. Amen. Yes, Brenda.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you are doing better.
Amen. That's what's up.
And y'all, Trisha put the link to Ron's book in the chat. So you can just click on that link if you want to purchase the book. And right behind the link for the book is the email if you're interested in ordering a quiche. I'm telling you, they are the bomb. She put the email in there as well. Christine said, you are a living testimony.
Oh, thank you.
Valerie, my cousin Val, said, do you still preach from time to time?
I do. When asked, I far few in between, because a lot of my pastor friends, they know I ain't on them. So so they don't invite me how they used to. But there are some good pastors out there who still call me and ask me to come in. I'm just, I just preach Jesus. And as JoJo said, I preach Jesus and sit on down.
See, y'all don't know. I know Tracy and Val are sitting there cracking up because he's calling me JoJo. Because they ain't heard nobody call me JoJo in a long time, except my cousin Ty. Well, kind of started. She used to call me JoJo. Now she call me Joe. So I know they sitting there cracking up, going, "He is calling him JoJo." But I told y'all that was my name growing up. I told y'all.
That's all I knew. Yep.
Right. So unless any of y'all have any more questions, I am going to let him go because what y'all don't know is I have another 15 or 14. Kennedy.
Oh, she is 13. She'll be 14 in December.
Okay, no, because I knew she was like a year younger than Deja because Deja just turned 15.
Okay, so yeah, she'll be 14 in December.
14. I have a 14-year-old niece that he takes care of. I got to give it up to my siblings, my sister and my brother. They do an amazing job with their kids. I can't lie. Kennedy had a whole little motorcycle.
Yeah.
I was like, I want a motorcycle. I want a real one now.
Yeah.
Shout out to my niece Kennedy and my niece Deja got both her ears pierced today again. And well, Ron, I want to say thank you for coming.
Man, I appreciate
you. Have you back. You know I'm gonna have you back when the second book comes.
Oh yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Oh no, I appreciate you too, and we will definitely talk.
Absolutely.
And y'all, I want to thank y'all for coming for a late night edition of Joseph Rants. You know, you can follow the rej-ection on all social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Of course, right here on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to become part of the rej-ection's kingdom, hit that join button. If you don't see it, it's because you're on an iPhone or an iPad. The link will be in the description box. Make sure you check out the boutique so that when we go back to having coffee with the Kings, you too can have coffee with the Kings with your mug with our faces on it. This is the official night mug. There's 3 more mugs and a cold tumbler that'll keep your drink either hot or cold for up to 24 hours. Check that out in the boutique. And with that being said, join me tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Joseph Rants. With that being said, y'all, you know how we do every show. Walk in love, peace, sunshine, and happiness. Shout out to my brother Ronald Glover for coming. Y'all all wanted to know what my last name was before it was McCray. Now you know my secret. You want to bless the pastor? That's his Cash App. Feel free to send him a Cash App. If you want to support the rej-ection, there's my Cash App. Feel free to do that as well. Walk in love, peace, sunshine, and happiness. And always remember is what? Team McCray all damn day. Later, y'all. You stay there, Ron.
All right.